First, I'd like to thank Accenture for inviting Accenture to this prestigious event. I've been asked to discuss the connected home today. Today's current state, looking out, projecting out to the next 3 to 5 years. So, plethora of devices that you can imagine in a connected home, putting into a few different broad categories, starting with consumer electronics, the e-reader, the tablet, internet-enabled television, going from there into security and alarm systems, healthcare devices for telemonitoring, as we were talking about earlier, and then from there going into appliances from refrigerators to sports and fitness equipment. Accenture has conducted market research on a connected home. Sample of over 1,000 participants, looking at participants who had over 4 connected devices in their home. And that was done in 10 different countries, including Spain. The results of that showed that the consumer is really looking at this in a positive way to save time, improve their lifestyle, as well as they really envision the devices that they're able to purchase in the future to have enabled connectivity. They are not without concerns, of course. One of those being security, so firmware, virus, malware concerns, as well as inappropriate third-party access. Another concern that they have that they talked about was the interoperability. So how are these devices in their home going to be able to speak with each other as well as the systems that they have? Other areas that they talked about were general preference to have a single provider for their connected home for billing, implementation, customer support, as well as software download applications and device management versus working with multiple entities. Now, the network demands, as you look at the connected home and the business models that are starting to come out of this. When you look at the business model, starting with the cost, first you have to look at the chipset, connectivity fees, development, and operational costs. And then when you go from the cost to the value added, what we feel the winners in this market are going to be the companies that are able to translate those costs into value-added services and with the appropriate marketing message to take those services into benefits to their end client, which is what Robert was talking about earlier as he left the room. Persistence being one of the keys for the connected home, much like as what you see with connected car and telematics, to go to another area, companies will move from moving to a single device sold to selling services for the life of the product. This has a tremendous potential to be a game changer for both connected home and, as we see, the connected car as well. So what does this mean for the end client as far as tangible and intangible benefits from a business model perspective? First, energy consumption. Potential to reduce energy consumption and how that associates with reductions in their energy utility bills. Healthcare, quality of life improvements with telemedicine, the ability to go ahead and enable their homes with the consumer electronics piece, which will, once again, enable them to have improvement of lifestyle. The one big question that we see coming out of this is the home gateway, and to a lesser extent, the connectivity options that will really prevail in this model. So we all, I think, understand from a business model perspective, I think it was discussed earlier in the room, that it's really not conceivable to imagine a SIM device or a connectivity option into each device in the home. It's just not a business model that'll work. So there are a number of companies that are really vying to see who's going to be the winner in that home gateway, be it from the mobile systems providers, cable set-top box players, game console players, right into the utilities with smart grid and the smart meters that they're bringing into their end home. There are also a number of connectivity options that you can foresee in this, from fixed broadband, wireless, and PLC. So in conclusion, we feel that the future is bright for the connected home. There's a number of opportunities for multiple players. Certainly, we've talked about standards just recently. The standards of interoperability of devices in a home is a big question, but it's not a question that's going to inhibit the market, we feel. They also have to figure out the flux in the business models and how is that going to translate into benefits for the end client. The home gateway, again, is probably the biggest question that we see. Multiple areas and multiple players trying to figure out who will be the end state player who's going to win in that. And again, we think that's with the competitive market that we live in, there will probably be multiple parties that will have opportunities to win. From an Accenture perspective, we feel we're well positioned in this market. We start with our device-agnostic service delivery platform that enables third-party companies to integrate their devices onto our platform, be it a gateway or an end device, healthcare included. From there, we can go ahead and offer support on a communications layer to support that device communication, and then from there also add value-added services from billing, customer support, M2M services such as device management, firmware upgrades over the air, and then innovative mobility solutions such as mobile commerce, mobile payments, and then mobile marketing and loyalty programs that are really starting to be at the cusp of kicking off in the market today. Thank you.
I have one question for you, Paul, which is whether in the survey work there were particular unmet needs that either expressed or implied by consumers that aren't being met by what they have today that they're looking forward to. Did you find anything?
I think it's around the interoperability once again. Clients are not looking to have multiple vendors to take care of them from a customer support perspective, from a billing perspective, already just from the start with the implementation of that device in their home. So interoperability of those devices and having the ability to have one single provider come in and help them to manage that whole solution.